made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast number 89. Hunter Keister, I am back. We are back for another week in sports, co-hosted with...
Hey, Mac. Here we go. Friday night, where else would you rather be? Number
Nowhere
89,
else.
let's go.
Nowhere else to be. Just about, we got a rough 12 and some change, 18 hours to the game.
18 hours.
18 hours to the game. And
17 and a half, but 18 hours is close enough.
Yep.
By the time all the commercials and all that mumbo-jumbo happens.
Absolutely. We come to you the Friday before the biggest game of the year for both of those teams, and we just wanted to come down and get a little podcast in as we look to just kind of, fill the void, kill some time, and just try to get us to the games as well as everybody else. So we thought, no better way to kill some time than hop in here and do another podcast for you guys. We're going to get it started. We're going to go back in time a little bit to week number 12 in college football.
Yep.
We have a couple things we want to highlight. We're going to highlight Michigan, but I want to start actually with Florida State Seminoles and what happened to them during their 58-3 win over North Alabama in Tallahassee. So Jordan goes down with just a tragic, gruesome injury.
Oof.
That nobody wanted to see. I couldn't believe they showed it again on TV. It was absolutely brutal. If you didn't get the hint, he broke his leg and probably a couple other things, which will obviously end his season, unfortunately. And for the number 4 ranked Florida State Seminoles, primed at 11-0 to at least make the ACC championship game, and then they would have to meet up with Louisville, which we believe would be a really good game. Now, the future looks murky with Florida State's quarterback going down. Now you got to see if the backup can keep it going. And even if he does, is Florida State, do they get a spot undefeated with the backup? I feel like you'd have to give it to them if they could manage to be undefeated, but who knows there. So there's some stuff we'll go into that some more. And just a good week in college football as we get ready for Rivalry Week.
Yeah, it certainly was an interesting week, seeing how it unraveled last weekend. That is for sure. We got through it, though.
Yes, we did.
We checked the box.
Get through it, check the box. What he is referring to is Michigan's road trip to Maryland. I thought this might be a little bit of a difficult game as the season started, and especially looking at the schedule from afar. When the season first began, I was like, "Oh, this could be interesting." Maryland. It's a decent slot for them, right, for the Ohio State game. They gave us more than anything that we wanted for sure. Michigan, 31-24 final for Maryland, and it was not easy.
No, it definitely was not. We start off the game really hot with the fumble 6 and just get a nice lead, and then just kind of coasted and slowed down, and that passing attack really gave us fits.
Yeah, the up-tempo, hurry-up passing attack gave Michigan some fits, and I do also believe it just stemmed from really Michigan kind of got on the gas, went to the halftime, and then I think that they kind of figured Maryland may roll over or just kind of give up, and that didn't happen. Mike Locksley kept his guys together. His offense was firing on our defense, which not very many teams can do, so that's big credit to Maryland, and especially Tagovailoa. He's been great at Maryland.
Got a safety.
Right.
The defense, it's kind of weird. They won us the game, but in a way, they kind of hurt us in the game. But at the same time, though, the offense just, that second half, I felt like they just too conservative,
they showed
man.
Up. Yeah,
the
Maryland offense showed up, and Michigan's offense was too conservative. That's exactly right.
So I think this is something we kind of needed in regards to, I hate bringing up years past, but that Illinois game last year, which was literally a game-winning field goal away from an L or a dub, thanks to Moody winning us that game in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
But maybe it was kind of one of those circumstances. That's why I mentioned last week with the whole point spread thing. I was like, I feel like we'll look ahead. We'll win, but I don't like that spread too much.
Absolutely.
I didn't think it'd be like this, but I knew it would be competitive for sure, based off of, honestly, Maryland kind of just slept on, TBH.
Yeah, I mean, they're
Maryland
had one
world beaters,
receiver.
but they're not slouches.
Right.
You know, that coach honestly kept them in that game.
Yeah.
And, I mean, just hand it off. You just got to give it to his little brother. He made some really good throws that sometimes, even when you are playing good coverage, the quarterback just makes a great throw, and there's nothing you can do.
Yes, and we saw that a couple of times, especially on Will Johnson. He got beat a couple of times on this absolutely perfect throws. But looking at Tagovailoa's stats, I mean, 247 through the air, but 2 interceptions. He actually didn't have a touchdown passing in this game.
Wow.
Which was crazy to think about. They had one receiver have 3 receptions for 81 yards.
Just felt like it was just throwing it so quick. It was like, whoa.
Yes, they were very quick. And
so many yards after catch, and just no running game, but that kind of was their way of the running game. But we were able to just get a win. That passing game still worried me a little bit, not going to lie.
Yeah, I think it needs to be a little bit addressed, and I hope that, I think a lot of those guys were held out precautionary, so I think that this offense should and will start off on all cylinders.
Needs to be better tomorrow.
Yeah, but they must be a lot better if they want to beat them boys from Columbus. Moving down the board a little bit here, we got to go to a Pac-12 matchup. Washington sitting at 5. They're hoping for a berth in the college football playoff. They, like Michigan, 22-20. Just barely over Oregon State. DJU gives Washington all they can handle. This was a home game for Oregon State, so this was a perfect trap game for Washington. And, I mean, DJU, 15 for 31, 164. No touchdowns passing for him and 2 picks. Michael Penix puts up 2 touchdowns, 162 yards. Not the best day, honestly. Their running back has 89 yards on the ground. Penix had a rushing touchdown. They had one receiver go for 100 yards. And they fumbled. They fumbled one. So did Oregon State. Oregon State fumbled one as well. But
for a Pac-12 game, man, that's some low scoring.
Low scoring, yeah.
Low scoring for them.
Yeah, for sure. That's just I think that's just the Washington defense playing really, really well, and I don't know what's going on with Washington's offense, but that's crazy. They only mastered 22 points. Rough environment to play, though, so I'll give them that.
Yeah,
I'll give them that, but
on the road.
For sure. All right, I think, Carl, was that it for the previous week, or did you have anything else you wanted to bring up?
I mean, those were really the big matchups, big things. I mean, we all mentioned them. I mean, they took care of Minnesota real quick, but a lot of the other matchups really weren't. I mean, you could look at Georgia, Tennessee, but Georgia, another big win for them, taking care of them rather easily, just like Ole Miss a few weeks ago.
Yeah, on the road too.
Yeah, yes.
Tough place to win. Tennessee gets rowdy, especially when they feel like they got a good team.
Mizzou with a close win at not at Florida, but against Florida, 33-31.
I remember that. Yeah, Florida not being the best, but they've been nuisances to some teams this season, especially in the SEC, and they almost pay off right there,
like a gnat,
with a big win over a 9-2 Missouri team. That's wild, though, thinking about that.
Gonna need them to be a gnat next week.
Yeah, all them years of Mizzou playing garbage football and Florida being a powerhouse, and now
look at them.
Florida's at 500 and Mizzou's in the top 10. It's a crazy world we live in. Crazy world we live in.
No, I mean, that was really about it, to be honest with you. A lot of the other matchups were, I don't know, not as spicy.
I agree.
I guess that'll take us into some good old fun day Sunday. NFL action from number week 11, which kind of like NCAA, only had couple big things, but not a week shattering move kind of weekend. Obviously, we saw what happened Thursday night with the Ravens and Bengals. Burrow's down for the season.
Ouch. We kind of call. I mean, there goes it. I mean, you should have sat him when you had the chance. At this point, you should have sat him when you had the chance, because now you don't have the chance. Now you are forced to sit him for the rest of the year because he tried to be the tough guy, Joe Burrow, the hero. And I think you guys as an organization need to sit with him and say, Joe, listen, you're not healthy. I know this team is kind of in contention right now, but you're not even really in contention, especially with how good everybody else has looked. I think you should have saved your You should have saved your
It's your
Ferrari.
job. It's your job to protect the player from himself at times.
You know he's going to say he can play 100 times out of 100. Broken, whatever, fractured.
Yep.
You know if he feels like he can go and he has the option, he's going to say yes. There. So at this point, knowing that, especially from a guy like him, you need to sit down with him and say,
you got to step in.
Yes, you got to step in and say, Joe, you have a boss. You have a job to do. You got to think
bigger picture, man.
Yeah, you are injured. You cannot do the job you are paid to do.
Sit the 4 weeks so you can play the 13 rest of the weeks.
Yep. Instead of stumbling through 10, and then on the 11th, boom, you're done.
It finally goes.
And now you still miss half the season. Like you were trying to avoid with those 4 games. Now you still miss half the season. What a blow to the Bengals, though, man.
Yeah. I hate to say I called it, but I called it.
Right.
Knock on wood. I mean, I never want to see that happen, but I kind of warned everyone before the season. I was like, you don't want to come into the season already lingering with something, and then being in the position he's in where he's hit as often. You're playing with fire.
In that division, man, you got.
When you have pass rushes like the Browns with Garrett, Steelers with TJ, and the Ravens with insert whoever. I mean, they're all physical games, and you're gonna really play with that over 4 games. I got nothing, but yeah. So the Ravens move on. Other than that, I mean, the couple other things were just the Browns-Steelers game, which was about what I expected, a very low-scoring defensive AFC North game with the rookie there in his second start getting a game-winning field goal. Yeah, that was something. Which
game-winning field goal. Bah.
Game-winning field goal with about a minute and a half left. They got the ball back after another 3 now. Make some good throws and.
Yeah, the last drive was. I was both those games on, but I was more focused on the Lions with that Bears game. But I was paying attention to the Browns. But we'll talk about that a little bit. As the Lions, we'll talk about how the Thanksgiving Day went. But as for Chicago, 31-26, they beat the Bears, and it's a close game. The Lions did not look their best.
Nope.
In this game, they were down most this game. Yep, down most this game to Chicago. Make a big comeback and find a way to win 31-26.
Not Detroit of old.
Yeah, just another. Yeah, like that's my takeaway from this game was the old Detroits lose that game and the new Detroit comes in and they find a way to win. So, yep.
Other than that, though, as far as Sunday goes, just a lot of meh-ness. Obviously the match of the week was really just that Monday night Chiefs-Eagles game where the Eagles hold the Chiefs scoreless in the second half and win the game 21-17.
21-17, yeah. I mean, holding that offense and Patrick Mahomes, I mean, you can say whatever about the receivers, and I think that we should say, but
yes,
that's not the Eagles. The league in drops. That's not the Eagles' problem. They're there to defend on who they got to defend, and defending Patrick Mahomes with the garbage receivers he has nonetheless is a difficult job, and holding him to no points and
under 20 points points in an entire half.
Right. No points entire half. Under 20 total is just something by itself, but that's just something to really say about the Eagles' defense there. And I mean that's what you want. That's the recipe to beat the Chiefs is keep it low scoring and keep it defensive and winning at the end like the Eagles did.
Yeah, that was a big win for them as they are the top seed in the NFC at 9-1, and Chiefs are number 2 in the AFC, I believe, behind the Ravens. I want to say, pretty sure that's their 3rd loss. Yeah, that's their 3rd loss of the season. So 7-3, I want to say, with L's to Detroit, the Broncos, and the Eagles. So. Well, yeah, that'll bring us to some NHL news, yeah?
Yeah, we'll look around NHL. We'll start somberly for the Blackhawks. Taylor Hall, star forward, signed to pair with Connor Bedard, is injured. Leg injury. I think it was confirmed to be an ACL injury, and he will miss the entire season. So, Chicago's top winger, paired with Bedard, is gone. and Chicago, who was pretty much the poorly put together project team trying to put something together because you weren't really expecting to get this prized possession in Connor Bedard, and now that you do, you kind of want to put a team together that can at least you can showcase them. Yeah, get the ball rolling. So that kind of forced them. I mean, I liked Taylor Hall. I liked the signing a lot, especially he was good in Edmonton. He was kind of trapped in there. You and I talked about that with Nugent Hopkins and those guys when Edmonton was really bad for forever. They were trapped there. So he was there, and then he went to Boston, and he played really good in Boston, and then comes over to Chicago.
Yeah, anytime you lose a starter, it's big, especially someone that's paired with Bedard. I'm sure he has more effects on him than just on the rink, helping get him ready. Just building chemistry, rhythm. I mean, those are all key factors. And now that's over. So now he's got to start with a new guy.
Find somebody else.
You don't want to put.
We'll see.
Sometimes it's hard putting your own players in positions like this, but there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Injuries have been terrible this year.
All of sports, football especially, but they're starting in hockey now.
Abysmal. In a very young season. Literally just started, a month ago, you would say?
Yes. Yep.
Man. Hate to see it.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago cut back out. They played today, early game in the United Center. It was like 2 or 3 p.m., but they come out and they get the win over the really impressive Toronto Maple Leafs. Chicago was actually down in this game 3-1. I believe they were down 3-1 in like early second period, maybe even into the third, but they tied up into the third and ended up winning it in overtime 4-3.
Did you bet on it?
No, I did not bet on it. And they actually played the backup goalie, so I wouldn't have bet on him because that backup goalie had been terrible. And I mean, 4-3 wasn't exactly. I mean, he had 34 saves, so that was impressive, but he's not been the best. That backup goalie has not been the best for sure, so I definitely wouldn't have bet on him. Yeah, but, I mean, Dickinson, the second-line center for Chicago, puts in a hat trick. So, I mean, that's a way to help out your top-line center that's missing his winger is come out and score 3 goals for him. We'll take it.
Take what you can get.
Right. And you'll be looking at this late, but daily bet for the day was the Avalanche over the Minnesota Wild. So if you guys aren't keeping up on the daily bets, all of our social medias will be linked down below, and make sure you guys are keeping up on that because we're like 230 some days in a row, Kurt, with and we got a pretty dang good record, I would say, for ourselves. You know what? I'd say we got a pretty dang good record. So check that out if you haven't seen it. Yeah, let's move on, Kurt.
I guess some present day action, even leaning back to games happened even yesterday with good old college. Week number 13.
Week 13. It's week 13. Oh, boy.
Rivalry week.
Rivalry
week.
That means a lot for these teams. But let's go.
We know what that means.
Yeah, we know what that means.
But
let's go. Let's look at some of the games. We'll start with the Thanksgiving college football game, which was the Ole Miss Rebels taking on Mississippi State. And this is just a classic we hate you, state of Mississippi rivalry. And, I was watching just some thoughts on this game. And Mississippi State fans really feel like it's that game where it's like we can lose every other game. And if we beat Ole Miss, it's fine. And, I thought they might have had the recipe to do it. Mississippi State, though, 17-7, they lose. Keep it kind of close. The spread was 10, so they cover that. They or a push on that, depending on where you got it. But, I mean, Jackson Dart, who was once supposed to be a Heisman contender, 14 for 26, 96 yards.
I mean, it was 3-0 at half. Ole Miss.
Yep. That's what I mean. And
they matched them in the third, so heading into the fourth, 10-7 game.
Yeah. And, I mean, Mississippi State doesn't even play a bad game. Their defense only gives us 17. Their quarterback doesn't turn the ball over. They don't fumble the ball. They have no turnovers. So it's just a classic close game, and Ole Miss is able to win it at the end with some tough playing. They win it 17-7. That's the Thursday game.
With a 26-yard touchdown in the fourth to seal it pretty much.
Right. There was a couple
Well, yeah,
of games.
that was the only game on
That was only
yesterday.
game on Thursday. Yep.
Yep.
We can move to today now in college football. We had a couple games take place.
Black
And
Friday.
a couple games still to play too. Tulane is
Black
up
Friday
nicely.
football.
Black Friday football. And really, it was a full day of games starting around noon. There was a Big 12 game, Oklahoma, TCU, and in a incredibly high scoring, no defensive game like you expect from Big 12. It was a 69-45 victory for the Sooners as they improved to 10-2. Dylan Gabriel was 400 yards passing. 400 yards
69 points, dude. What is this? A video game?
400 yards passing. The other quarterback, 344.
You're talking about almost 1,000 yards of offense.
TCU quarterback, 4 touchdowns. TCU running back, 150 yards rushing. Dylan Gabriel, Oklahoma quarterback, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. Oklahoma running back, 130 yards, 3 touchdowns. Wow. Just an absolutely explosive offensive game. And I was busy doing some accounting work, so I was pretty salty when I seen the game run. I thought I'd go down later.
Total yards, 1,100 yards combined.
Wow.
607 yards from Oklahoma, 520 from TCU.
Damn.
Wow.
That's crazy.
With passing and rushing combined, yeah. My gosh.
That's what that's a Big 12 football game for you. That's a Big 12 football game for you.
That is the most Big 12 I've ever seen.
Absolutely. We got Tulane over UTSA in an American League matchup. Tulane only has one loss. They're ranked, and they're handling it. 8-3 UTSA, 29-10. That game's just about over. Missouri, they have a close one against Florida. The Razorbacks have played a lot of SEC teams close. Would they play Missouri close? No. 41-7. Start of the fourth quarter. It's been Missouri. It's going to be Missouri. They're going to get that win and go to 10-2. Texas and Texas Tech play tonight. That's a rivalry game that has to go down.
That one's about to get started soon.
That's about to get started, as well as Michigan State. The Spartans take on Penn State. And this game is a neutral site in Ford Field where the Lions play. I didn't know that. That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. A massacre.
Penn State massacre.
Michigan State gets massacred again.
Michigan State plus 23. Penn State's trash. Yeah. If Aller can't beat this, then Penn State, you need a quarterback and fast. Because this 5-star you thought you had,
and Franklin can go. But I'm cool with him being there. Whatever. Yep. Franklin the Turtle.
And then, the biggest matchup of the night, taking place at 8:30, is the Oregon State Beavers, 8-3, looking to take Oregon out of the running.
Pac-12.
Pac-12 matchup, Oregon 10-1. This is a big game. Obviously, Oregon State playing well, 8-3 on the season, and just having that narrow loss to Washington, they could have had 2 top 10 wins in back-to-back weeks. Let's see if they can avoid back-to-back losses as they travel. This should be a good game. I cannot wait to turn that one on. I've been waiting to watch this game all day.
That's got big implications.
Yeah, it really does. I've really been waiting to watch it. I cannot wait. I might even throw some money on it. Oregon minus 14. What do you think about that? Initial reaction to that, Kurt? This game taking place in about an hour.
That's what you're going to go with?
No, the line right now is Oregon minus 14. They're at home. 8-3, Oregon State. They just barely lost to Washington by 2. What do you think?
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix. DJU.
I think Oregon State covers the plus 14, but I don't think they win, though. I like Oregon probably more like a minus 10. Maybe a minus 13, but I don't know about 14. That's 2 touchdowns. Rivalry game, night game, who knows?
It's a
Black Friday night game.
I like that.
I like Oregon State with plus 14.
Right. I don't like Oregon State. I don't like Oregon State to win, but I don't think it'll be comfortable for Oregon to say the least.
I don't think so either. But hey, that's something juicy to finish off your night with. So,
woo!
As we dive into, like we said, rivalry weekend. So does that mean it's time?
Yes, it is time. It is time to dive into.
It's time.
It's time.
Yes.
Week 13, rivalry week, and we are going to start it where it really only matters. I mean, there's some other rivalry games, but nothing even comes close in all of sports, especially on this Saturday. It is the number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes coming to Ann Arbor to take on the number 3 ranked Michigan Wolverines. Michigan comes into this game at a 3.5-point favorite. The over-under sits at 46.5. Oh man, can't wait. We've been waiting a whole year. Michigan has won the previous 2 matchups after not winning for almost the last 20 years. They finally brought it back, and they look to continue their winning ways in Ann Arbor. They got the cast to do it. This game features the most healthiest we've seen these two teams since the rivalry, or especially since the rivalry's been good, which was pretty much like, I would say late 2000, late teens, is when it got good again. And now in the 20s, it's finally gotten to be competitive and actually see Michigan win a couple. Thank God.
Yes, finally.
Finally.
Got the monkey off her back.
Got the monkey off our back, and now we look to try to keep the streak going for ourselves here and extend it to 3 games. This game is very interesting outside of everything that's going on, but especially everything that's going on within this sign-stealing garbage that the Michigan football program has going on. It even makes it that more spicy. But, Kurt, I know we've talked about it already, but it's last night. Let's just hear some. I guess I would want to hear, because if you guys have listened to the CFB podcast, Kurt, give some initial takes or maybe some final takes. Give us something with this game. I mean, we're, like we said, under 18 hours now, and it only gets closer.
Yeah, as the clock ticks, the hour will be here soon. Thoughts heading into this game. Well, it's everything for us. We have to win this game if we want to get to where we want to go.
Right. That's not what a lot of people are talking about, is how it really is. Like, I mean, I know with the scandal and everything, you can say what you want, but Michigan, it was more important for Michigan before, but now it definitely is, because Michigan has no backstop, no backboard, we'll let you slide in if you lose. We're not going to get that. And somehow Ohio State, I get it's a decent win over Notre Dame, but that one win at Notre Dame has given them immunity pretty much in what I would call almost immunity, where they still probably get at the worst 4, and I say they still make the playoffs with a loss. And Michigan,
absolutely.
And Michigan just isn't afforded that same scenario. So, like you said, I do believe people will say, it's more important for Ohio State because they've lost a couple. No, this game still remains more important for Michigan because it's playoffs or miss for them.
They've already been placed at 1. Somehow they dropped to 2, probably after that Rutgers game, if I had to say why.
Yep, that's what me and my dad were talking about that. Yep.
Yeah, the fact remains that they still have them over us. And the fact is, with everything that's been going on, if we lose tomorrow, we're not getting in. There's no way. But Ohio State will find a way to get in because the Florida State injury, and then if Georgia somehow loses, then they will absolutely get in.
And then if Washington would slip up somewhere, that's automatically, there goes the 4th team.
Pending, that rivalry game they play against Washington State. Anything can happen.
You never know.
Man.
Washington State's not very good.
That's not learning football.
Yeah.
Any Saturday, any Sunday, any Thursday.
You can't count them out.
You cannot count anyone out in these types of weeks. And so that's why I say the win, it means more to us, because if we don't win this, then the last 2 years with everything looks invalidated.
Absolutely.
But the key to winning is winning the trenches like we've done the past 2 years. Really look for how we're going to utilize the backs tomorrow. Is it going to be a Corum heavy day? Are we going to keep both of them rolling? Probably Edwards more in the passing game.
That's what I want to see.
Much rushing.
I want to see Corum play a lot, and if that means that Edwards is in as like a flex back or a receiver, that's fine. But it's Corum's birthday, and especially if he has a hot hand, if he's finding the holes, he needs to be played.
Might even see both of them in the backfield. I wouldn't be surprised. Because I expect some wrinkles tomorrow, because we're not holding back the playbook anymore. This is it, man. I was just getting ready to say, I feel like the past 2 weeks we've kind of maybe held our hand back and just kept things maybe conservative a bit in the offense. And I definitely expect there, like I said, to be some different looks tomorrow. There has to be. It can't just be inside zone, 3rd and 6, inside zone.
Yes, we have to, because we have to think
some type of balance.
every time we punt on the ball, we have to think a deep pass to Marvin Harrison is coming, and it could be caught, and it could be brought in for a pass interference. Trenches, Michigan, that's where they need to win. Ohio State, I mean, the offense can't be like this. We see it too much. In these middle parts of these games, sometimes in the front, there's just too many possessions where Michigan gets a little bit too, I don't know, they want to force the run or just they push it a little bit too much, and it leads to just some third and longs or just some, I don't know. I know they need to mix it in somewhere, but you gotta be wary that every time you punt that ball, man, you're punting it to an offense that could light you up with the receiver.
It's going to be very big play dependent for them. I have a hard time. I have a very hard time seeing Ohio State put together a good 12-play drive. I just don't see it for them to win.
Yes,
I feel like they're going to need some big plays to keep in this game, and that's why we're going to need Will Johnson. I mean, Sanders still.
Put a safety.
He's going to get his. I'm not going to doubt that. If you target someone 10, 12 times, they're going to get theirs. But just got to try to slow them down.
Yes.
Can't let them beat you. I mean,
the D-line pass rush, so you don't have to blitz. And then especially the defensive line is going to have to play great in rush defense, so we don't have to stack the box. Because the moment we do that, you leave Harrison in, exactly where he wants to be with a lot of field to work with if we're stacking that box. So just very interesting. I'm so excited for this game. It was really good last year, but I think this year is like the premier cream of the crop matchup that we've been waiting for so long, with both teams as healthy as they can get. So I can't wait to see it. And as the Big Ten changes and as the college football landscape continues to change, the last year of the rivalry being the exact, the ways of the past, we got to get a win.
I know we're gonna win tomorrow. I probably, kind of like in years past, it'll be close at half, but second half, I don't know what it is, but we just make great time adjustments. I mean, you're talking about we didn't even allow any third quarter points until last week against Maryland. So really, that third quarter seems to be that sweet spot where we like to just get a lead, and then now you're stuck throwing the ball, having to attempt every passing down. And that's when the pass rush comes. I mean, when they actually play McGregor off the edge, I mean, Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham, Chris Jenkins in there.
Yeah. And I think using those guys,
Carroll,
keeping the rotation going will be important. But I think if with Ohio State's up-tempo offense, especially if they do go up-tempo, I think that'll be a spot where Michigan could struggle, or it'll be interesting to see if they're able to sub like they usually do, rotating those guys. And I think that's what keeps them so good. So I mean, keeping them on their toes and keeping them behind the marker, throwing in completions, stopping the ball so you can keep that rotation in and not allowing them to keep boom, boom, boom. Because if they go
can't let them stay on track.
If they go quick, forward, run, then you know what's coming. Pulling it out, Harrison, down the field.
Can't always be third and 5. But
100%.
That all comes down really to just, like we said, in the trenches, stopping the run first, because that's their best hope in keeping in this game is balanced. But I'm not really worried about it. The players we're hyped up, but I know they're fucking ready to go.
Oh, they've heard the noise.
They know how much this means. And they've been hearing the noise. I mean, literally, it's going to be the whole entire country against us Saturday.
Which is fine.
Used to it.
Just a nice little tidbit of information that I saw right before the show aired. Aiden Hutchinson is the college football game day guest speaker from Ann Arbor tomorrow, so that'll be awesome.
Yeah, well, the schmucks like Urban and the other schmucks on that cast will be picking Ohio State like always, and they'll look wrong again. It'll be great. So I know come tomorrow around that 4 o'clock range, maybe even 3:30, because like I said, I like a 17-point kind of win, 14-point kind of win. We'll be celebrating. So 31-17 from me. 31-17.
31-17. I'm going to go a little bit more conservative. I like a 28-21 final for Michigan.
However, it's a win. But what are we thinking for these other games?
All right, let's get into the other games. I mean, Washington State we got to think about. Texas tonight, but that's an interesting game. That line's 15.5 and rising for Texas, though, so looks like not too many people are on the Red Raiders in that one. But that kind of started off for rivalry week. And then as we get into, obviously, Saturday, that's when the real fun begins. So we got Louisville, Kentucky, which could be a decent game. I mean, this would be a perfect spot to just jumble everything up and have a 6-5 Kentucky team beat Louisville. It is in Louisville, so that'd be wild. Louisville is a 7.5 point favorite in that one. That's an interesting one. Also at noon. LSU Texas A&M. I don't know how much rivalry this is, but a decent game with LSU at 8-3 and Texas A&M at 7-4. A lot of people trying to make the case for Jaden Daniels to win the Heisman with his play, despite their team record and just overall not really having the greatest season. But he is having a phenomenal season, and I'm one of the people that will at least push for him to be a finalist for sure, 100%. He is carrying that team. He's playing incredible, and I think he deserves
especially
to at
with that coach.
Yeah, and I hate Brian Kelly. I despised Brian Kelly growing up, watching him, hating him at Notre Dame, but then like mutually being able to watch him just take LSU and watch what
I think for
Ed
me,
Ogeron
man,
did.
I never really care for him, but those videos of him with the players so cringe. Like where he's like doing with the players right next to him. Like, dude, you're like 70 years old. What are you doing? Cringe.
Yes.
Ultimate cringe.
LSU opened up as a 12.5 point favorite in that game. That game is from Baton Rouge. Not a bad one there. Then at 3:30, we get into the Iron Bowl. Alabama and Auburn. Can 6-5 Auburn pull off the upset? They are at home. Alabama's 13-point favorite. Auburn.
I don't know, man. I feel like Alabama's on a roll.
Yeah. Auburn lost last week 31-10. Guess who?
Who?
New Mexico State.
Oh my God. That'd be the ultimate upset if they somehow beat Bama.
31-10. New Mexico State beat them. And they beat Arkansas, they beat Vandy, they beat Mississippi State. Then they lost 4 in a row. Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, A&M. So up and down kind of year, but 31-10. Yikes. Wow. I mean, Thorne didn't play absolutely terrible. He had 148, 1 touchdown, and no picks. They only put up 10 points. Oh, it's probably going to be a Bama massacre, but I'm pulling for Auburn. Give me a close one.
One could hope. That Florida State game at Florida.
Right, and then we get into the 4 and the 7 o'clocks with Florida State, Florida. Interesting game. How does Florida State fare without their quarterback? Florida been playing decent football, not the best, but definitely I feel like
tough.
Spoiler tough. Enough, good enough to spoil football, especially for a Florida State team that's looking at the cusp of the playoffs, but without their quarterback, who knows? And then Washington State in the same spot, 5-6 over. They're facing undefeated Washington. Looks like Washington's at home, and Florida is at home, so they got to go to the Swamp. Florida State's got to go to the Swamp. So Washington State will definitely keep our eye on because, I mean, while Washington State isn't the best, they're not. They've lost three straight, but 38-24 to Oregon, 38-27 to Arizona State, 10-7 to Stanford, 42-39 to Cal. So they can definitely put up some points if Oregon's not having if Washington's defense not having the best day, like they really honestly haven't been.
They've been
at times. So could this game be a shootout? Maybe. The line's at 15.5 though for Washington.
I don't know. That one's close. 15.5. So they need at least 16. I don't know,
Something tells me close game. Something tells me.
I don't know about
something that. Something tells me 15.5.
I don't think they cover 15.5.
Right.
I would probably say no.
Yeah. What about Florida State minus 6.5? They cover that?
Florida State minus 6.5 at Florida. I guess I'm going with the underdogs this week to cover.
You're taking Florida to cover?
Yeah. I've just seen too many times this year, man. Shit that ain't supposed to happen somehow.
Right. I don't mind it. I mean, it would help us out if these teams could get upset or at least have close games in the last week. So we'll see.
It would just be cool not to see things be always how they're supposed to go, Upsets make things interesting.
For sure they do.
Change it up, man.
And then, pretty much the only night game worth talking about is Clemson 7-4 versus South Carolina 5-6. Clemson is a 7.5 point favorite.
It looks like it's at South Carolina to me.
Yep. Never mind. In South Carolina.
So an ACC versus SEC matchup.
Yep.
Huh.
Late night game. Spencer
Well, I
Rattler.
mean, you'll be too sloshed for that anyway. So
What?
you'll be too sloshed for that anyways. By that time, you'll be probably sleeping.
Yeah, let's just say what he's referring to, guys, is it's been 2 years of some early nights for me, but I'm determined not to go out early. But
see, what happens is he hits his peak, and then he like fades after like the first hour and a half. You got to maintain a good flow. You can't just be like a roller coaster, like up then down. You got to maintain it.
Fair. So Clemson comes to this game. They lost to Miami in double overtime. South Carolina comes off back-to-back losses to Texas A&M and Mizzou. Clemson also lost to NC State, so both these teams have back-to-back losses after some pretty good win streaks. What do you think, Kurt? Can Spencer Rattler get it done from home?
Clemson against South Carolina.
Yeah.
You know, Clemson, I remember after that Duke game, man, I jumped off of any back for Dabo Sweeney and them. Give me South Carolina.
Wow.
Give me South Carolina.
All
Clemson.
right, we'll butt heads then on that a little bit. Why not?
Clemson.
I'll take Clemson -7. Come on, Dumbo. Prove him wrong, Dumbo Sweeney. Prove him wrong, Dumbo Sweeney.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Give me the Gamecocks.
Gamecocks.
South Carolina Gamecocks.
Ooh. The Gamecocks. For sure.
Hey,
right.
we made Georgia sweat. So put some respect on our name. He's not really a South Carolina fan. It's just a joke. But no, I mean, I see a lot of juicy matchups tomorrow. I think it'll be a great Saturday, as a lot of these have actually been pretty good. From noon to 3:30, it's going to be a fucking heart attack. So.
Yep, it's going to be a bloodbath. I'm hoping for a great game.
Physical.
I'm hoping everybody stays healthy.
Referees, stay out of this shit.
Yep. I want this game to be healthy. I want everybody to stay healthy on both sides. And I want the refs on both sides to stay the absolute F out of it. I want this game clear cut down the middle. No excuses either way. 50-50. Straight to the last whistle. I want it clear cut. These are two teams, two of the best teams in the country. There's no reason that the refs should be deciding any of these calls. No bogus, no BS. It's going to be a great game. Don't get involved, refs. We know how you like to get involved and ruin things and get your little rat noses involved.
Let it be unless it's something obvious. You know, if it's targeting or something crazy. But don't be throwing these tic-tacky calls. Don't be throwing that tic-tacky shit, man.
Agreed. Absolutely.
The only other thing we could touch on was the some of the NFL action from yesterday.
Oh yeah, let's talk. Okay, yeah,
some
we do.
Turkey Day tradition action.
I forgot. I gotta talk my crap on the Lions because So the Lions haven't won a Thanksgiving game since 2016, and they come in. Usually they're massive underdogs in these Thanksgiving games, but because people had picked up on the trend. No, the Lions got up to -8.5 point favorites against the Packers yesterday. I mean, Detroit, they look good. They were 8-2. They got that win over the Bears we talked about. I don't know. They come out. 2 touchdowns, 300 yards for Jared Goff, but 3 fumbles. 3 fumbles is unacceptable.
They just got down big early, and it's hard to come back, man. I mean, you just won
20
a prayer
points in the
game
first
last
quarter.
week.
20 points in the first quarter.
Fumble 6 by Green Bay was huge. I mean, the 4th and 5 fake punt run. What was that on your own 20?
Right.
Just the Lions offense really didn't play too well. Just you allow 20 pressures out of 40 plus dropbacks. I mean, if your quarterback is getting pressured, probably not going to do good.
Right. I mean, they didn't.
So that was my main takeaway. And Detroit's defense did not play good.
No, Detroit's defense hasn't looked the best.
Dotted him up.
268 yards and 3 touchdowns with 10 incompletions and no interceptions. Yeah, that's a great game from Jordan Love. And I've had a lot negative to say about Jordan Love, so really good to see him just absolutely shred Detroit's defense. But, I mean, they got decent support in the run game. 15 for 71 and a touchdown from Montgomery. 11 for 54 for Gibbs. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 95. Cleve Rimmon had 90. So, I mean, to end up being a close game, the Lions, good on them to be able to pull back.
0 for 5 on 4th downs.
And then, some of those 4th downs where the fake punt you shouldn't have ran. I don't know, take your points sometimes if you're able to. It's just, it pays off if you like it. It's really live by it, die by it, because you're sitting here, if they're 5 for 5 and the Lions win, you're saying, Dan Campbell's a genius, but they're 0 for 5 and the Lions lose, you're saying Dan Kibb was a dumbass.
Sometimes it just happens. You play division games, and there's just so much. You're just so familiar with each other. Just how it goes.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, we'll move down to the 4:30 slot, and it was another division game, but it was not familiarity close game. It was a Dallas ass whooping 45-10 as the 4-8 Commanders continue to slide. Dak, another great game from him. 330 yards, 4 touchdowns, 10 incompletions.
Yeah, heading into the fourth quarter, it was like 10-20, but then Dallas just really put it on him.
Yep. Didn't look too bad. 300 yards. He threw it a lot. 44 yards. 44 passing attempts.
He actually surprisingly leads the league in passing yards.
Yeah, for how much McLaurin complains about him. Yeah, I know. That's wild. I heard about that too.
DeRon Bland with another pick six. He got I think he just broke the record.
Yeah.
He broke the record. So, I mean, kind of like what I said earlier on Tony's podcast, like when Dallas plays bad teams, they take it to them. And they've won 20 games straight at home or something crazy. I don't know. Yeah, Dallas, another big game for them. They are 8-3 and a game and a half behind Philly, I want to say. But that's to remain to be seen post Sunday. So, yeah, that game went about as I expected.
Right. I didn't think they'd lose that bad, but I didn't think Washington would win. But I had them to cover 13, and they definitely didn't do that.
Nah, just too much firepower. Then the Sunday night game we watched wasn't really that good. San Fran really took it to Seattle, just ran all over them. We saw that Christian McCaffrey run, and you were shook. You were shook.
That was wild. What do you mean?
It was wild. No, I'm with you. It was wild.
That was a human joystick, an actual human joystick play.
He just stopped, and then that guy froze, and then he just went.
Yeah.
So
he's incredible.
San Fran gets their early first win out of that little series, as they'll play soon again. But big win for San Fran as they try to stay in it with Philly for that top seed. Seattle performing, and San Fran just what they've been doing, really.
200 yards for Purdy. Not a bad game. 21-30. He had 1 pick. 114 for McCaffrey. 2 touchdowns. Beast, like always. Debo staying healthy, playing for 7 for 79. 2 for 50 for Ayuk. He doesn't really get used, but he gets a touchdown. So
yeah,
that saved him if you played him in fantasy. Kittle's been underwhelming. It's absolute all hell this season.
Just too many players there.
Yeah, and it really was just a case of too many bodies to try to get the ball to. So Kittle kind of got faded out. But, yeah, that'll do it. That'll close out the Thanksgiving. And I think that will close out this episode of the Made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast. Another one is in the books. Got to talk about the game. Got to talk about the rivalry week in college football. Another week in NFL. And some hockey injuries, some hockey misfortunate for my own Chicago Blackhawks. But that happens. And a good overall sports podcast for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. And if you're a fan of Ohio State, I don't have much to say to you right now.
Stay tuned.
You never know. Stay tuned. Stay up to date for the socials. That'll be all linked for all the Made on Ridgeway stuff. The Shekel podcast will be down there as well, as we've been on there on a weekly basis, chopping it up with Kurt's brother Tony. So if you missed that, check out those episodes. You can hear more on what him and his brother-in-law Brandon thought in the game. Those are Ohio State fans. So for some of you Ohio State fans, check that out. You can hear some perspective opposite of ours. And outside of that, it was a good Friday night talking to you, Kurt. And I'm excited to just wind down, watch a little bit more college football, and get ready for tomorrow. So I'll see you then. And for these guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. We are out. Peace.
Peace out.